So, hello, Ashraful. Uh,
Hello, Fredrik.
hello. I'm uh, I'm a bit curious. I think you know more about these things about how what's the general um, what to call it what people think about the development of AI. Are there lot of people against it. I don't hear so much about it, but are there groups forming around this? And of course, are there groups very pro, also
Hmm.
very for it? Uh,
I cannot tell like if there are groups together. There could be.
mm,
I believe there are groups who are gathering together, but there are some people have strong opinion. Some people have strong opinion in supporting AI, and some are really strong against AI the way it is happening now.
mm,
And they're also they have diverse ideas and thoughts on why they like AI or not. Some are also heavily concerned that it is impacting the copyright structure, that who can use your content,
mm,
as you talked about before, that your content will disappear in that inside AI, and or not disappear, but they will be using it to do things, and then you will not have royalties or other benefits from that. There will be no reference to your names.
no.
Like we talked about that if you learn from Beethoven, then I don't know if you have done that, but if somebody does that, then you can see the influence, and they talk about that these are the people are most influential in my work.
Mm,
But in AI, that kind of can disappear. So
yeah,
this sort of thing, some people are really, really concerned about that.
yeah. Is there a debate, and where do we find it? In which forums, or where is that debate mostly going
So
on?
there are books about this, articles. So I read some of the articles, and I think it was a book that I listened to, audiobook.
Mm,
And so they discuss in details about this, what is happening, and all these possibilities and concerns. And I think in the European Union, there are more regulation as well and concerns about this. And so it seems like there are more regulations in European Union about AI than other parts of the world.
do you know why? Is it like the European Union always want to regulate things more, or is this specifically important?
Because I can't know why.
No, no.
Because it's a development throughout like over culture and history and
Mm,
practice,
mm.
what people think. But in general, it seems that in Europe there is a higher respect for individuality and individual success,
Yeah.
compared to let's say Asian countries and other parts of the world where collective is more important
Mm,
in certain ways. This is also very generalized that I learned from reading things or listening to things.
uh,
So then if you want to keep your individuality, your work should not disappear in that like collective space.
exactly.
It
But
needs to contribute, but it needs to still hold its own
yeah,
space as an individual contributor. So
yeah.
that feels that I don't know. You can. What are your thoughts about that?
Um, many thoughts about uh, these things around development and like that. But what I'm curious about is there a debate, or maybe what's in the closest future? Will there be more debate? And where will we see it? Is it in the in the mainstream media, or is it in much more alternative medias, or will people generally debate this? Will it become a very important topic for many people, or is it more like only those with special interest? What do you believe about that?
So I don't see any reason why this debate should disappear, and particularly when people actually have strong emotions connected to it.
Mm.
And some are really scared. Some even may think that if I stretch it, if they may think this is the forbidden fruit, they're going to, that looks delicious, but this will be the end of the societies we know today.
Yeah.
So there are people.
Have you read some that kind of uh, yeah, people writing about these feelings that they are really scared? Have you read about that?
There are people who are talking about they're scared, but the same people who actually invested in AI industries first, now they're warning
Ah, okay,
people that
same
we should
people.
slow down.
Mm.
So, and it is very difficult to know that is it they're really concerned or they're losing the competition, so and the control, so they want to slow it down, that if I cannot have it, nobody should have it because this is so powerful.
Mm, mm.
Or is it they're really believing that? It's not clear to me.
No, no.
But and the metaphor I used, that is not, that is my own metaphor. I haven't read that particular metaphor, but in a way it feels like that something we look so delicious, but the society can have a really big impact from this, and particularly if there is a and people are particularly scared that robots will take over.
Mm, yeah, and of course that's not nothing new in that, but I'm more thinking of the scale of this. It seems like very many people are concerned about specific topics from time to time. It's something that many people are talking about. But this, I don't think that the majority really talks about this.
Mm. No,
Uh,
that
will
I
it
think I could
become
agree.
that, or will the development just continue without that happening? That it's just going on, and most people don't think so very much about it. Is it possible that it will be like that?
Of course, now we are particularly talking about generative AI that is creating contents, visual contents and text contents, and also more and more audio contents.
Mm.
And
I mean,
so,
almost all people take part of this. They read and watch this kind of material. So, so
so
it's
I don't believe that people read the philosophical or legal aspects of it so much.
no.
But there is a large number of people who are early adopters. So people are actually using it
Mm,
very seriously and regularly. So it doesn't seem like it will slow down.
mm,
But on the other hand, the debate that takes place in the parliaments, I would think, in all possible parliaments and the EU parliaments in particular. So
mm,
so people are debating this in these policymaking places and philosophy groups. They're discussing these things, and there are also people who are using AI and who are
mm,
not using AI or using AI with skepticism. They're
mm,
also discussing these things.
mm.
So it is happening, but it's not clear how large is this debate.
Yeah.
And also, if some parts of the world are more regulated and some are less regulated, then what happens to that?
Mm.
And that could also create a different AI culture in general in different parts of the world. And that can also change cultures overall.
Yeah. And what's the the implications of that? Well, I don't find the right word here.
Hmm? Yes, what do you think?
Uh, yes, I don't know really. I mean,
Yeah, we need to speculate because it's the
yeah,
future.
exactly.
So,
I mean, uh, I have the feeling that there has been a wish for quite long to, uh, in a way, unite the world, that we should live in the same world with uh, kind of the same values and that. Uh, and what will happen with these kind of ideas if it becomes too big differences uh, in using these very powerful tools. Um, will there be more differences again in the world?
mm,
Is that
yes. Some people would argue because I think fire is a very destructive force. And we also see in forest fire today that can be really destructive. And some people are saying, no, we should not use fire. Like if we go back to history, that
yeah,
now fire, we cannot use it because it's so dangerous. But on the other hand, our modern society wouldn't be possible without fire at all.
no,
This is very interesting. Of course, if we did not use fire, if we went back that time, without fire, there would be a life. Like most of the species, they don't use fire.
no, no, no. Uh, but is it really more of fires today? I don't believe that. I think there were even worse forest fires earlier. It was just that we are so aware of it. We focus so much on every big fire in the world, so we know about them so much now.
No, what I mean that we also chose to, as human species or the Homo sapiens, we chose to use fire.
Yeah, yeah, of course, yes.
That this is something we can use, although it is so destructive and it
I,
can be
I
really
think we
destructive.
are today much better to use it, much more safe, so it's not going wrong so often. But yeah, but it's interesting. So maybe it's like that with this also. Uh,
It can
but
be, it's not clear.
I mean, there could be a hope that maybe there will be problems now, but we will solve them. There will be less problems in the future. It will be
Hmm.
safer. There could be a problematic period now, and this is growing fast, and all these new things there, and
Yes.
problems we are not aware of now. But
But
uh,
of course, we should also address that the firepower that people talk about,
mm,
that's also destructive in a way that can destroy a lot of the part of the planet that we know or the world we know.
mm,
Like if we think about nuclear power,
yeah, yeah,
nuclear destruction, that is also, I believe, it's not exactly fire as fire, but it's still serving similar purpose. And
mm,
it is really destructive in a way that it can destroy the world we know it.
mm,
And also, also impact other species with radiation and all those
yeah.
nasty things. So we cannot really tell that it is totally safe, the fire we adopted.
No, 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 exactly. And I think what this will do with generative AI and this collective sort of erasing the individual. Can it be a threat to our thinking, our minds? Can we be so if what to call it, if affected by it, that we lose ourselves totally and just go up into this collective mind and not thinking clearly anymore, or just clearly in a way that makes sense for the general, but that could be going the wrong direction totally, or I don't know.
Of course, there are like these companies who are making these tools, particularly the large language models and also image generation tools. They are regulating it in their own way.
In their
So,
own way, yes.
of course, that is negotiated with the government and other, but in their own, based on their belief system today.
Yeah, okay, yes.
So, and what they believe is good for the world and such. So in a way that will influence a lot of people, because that will generate these contents that are in some way controlled by these companies.
Yeah.
Or not in some, in many ways is controlled by these companies.
Yeah. I remember now you said before that AI doesn't want to go into controversial topics. I think you mean ChatGPT then, or I'm still confused about this different.
So if you ask it a question, I don't think it will immediately go to a controversial topic, but it will address, if you ask about a controversial topic, it will discuss that it is a controversial topic. I think it also depends on the subject matter, but it will not, the first step will not go immediately about the controversies.
No.
That's like some, but that's, I don't know if it is even good or bad. Some people live in controversies. So as soon as you discuss something, my observation is could be itself a controversial thing when I'm saying this. That,
Yeah.
but this is my observation that there are people who would actually go directly to controversy first, then going to this mainstream thinking, like rejecting the mainstream thinkings. But I think ChatGPT would be like, it would be strange if they did that. Then it would be less useful as well. But they are aware of the controversies that are happening. So if you ask about the controversies around it, they probably can address that.
Yeah.
But for example, when you create image generation tools, so like if you ask to create an image of a person, there are so many ways it can create, but then it needs to make choices because it can only produce maybe 4 or such images. So, and it will try to read what you want for your purpose and your preferences.
Yes.
But it has no direct access to that. So, like, I think last time you asked a question that if AI knows you as a person, and so that is, of course, that itself can be controversial because of the cultural politics that is happening in the world today. Particularly in the field of inclusion and diversity and such questions, at how to address that, because the world has been not inclusive for a long time.
No.
And how to address those issues, that's not very easy to understand. So when they make choices, that is also can be good but may not be good. So
I'm I'm trying to find a way to explore this. What if this development, if it's like going where it will be more and more impossible to question the general ideas about things. If the controversial topics will be like treated as
So this is what I think, like most
yeah,
people
please.
are not researchers. So when they ask questions, they like if, for example, if I want AI to talk about ice cream,
Yeah.
it probably will not start talking about why sugar is bad for people.
No.
Like it will talk about ice cream first. But if you go deeper, then people can start discussing, is sugar good or bad? What was the traditional belief about sugar? What is the belief today? And
Mm.
is there a controversy about is sugar good or bad? Can we conclude exclusively, like conclude that this is actually good or bad? And then should ice cream be banned? And this sort of more and more questions that would become very, very far-fetched to answer if a teenager asking a question to ask ChatGPT, oh, I want to make ice cream. Can you tell me about how to make a good ice cream?
Mm. Mm.
So, but it's not controversy free. So, but ChatGPT, I don't think will start with the controversy that have you thought about these questions? Is sugar good for you? And that it can be really demotivating for many people.
Yeah.
And even music, like I was talking to somebody who is really into listening to metal music since he was even pre-teen. So that's what he listens to. And he particularly likes this many like also particularly the Finnish bands and some Swiss bands and then others. Yes, so he is saying that his friends when he was in studying his bachelor studies, they kind of disagreed with him and kind of judged him for listening to metal music. So
Yeah.
even in that, even in music listening practice, there are controversies, apparently.
Yeah.
I don't know if it is a controversy, but there's clearly judgment towards people who are a bit different than maybe the mainstream people. So,
Yeah.
and people can always go to psychoanalysis and try to understand why somebody is eating ice cream or watching movies and or even taking walks.
Mm.
So like I don't know, but I don't think that ChatGPT will start there. That's the main point.
Yeah.
And also in every answer, I don't know if it will consider all the consequences. And some cases they are controlled by the companies who are making those, and they based on the beliefs the companies have.
Yeah. Mm.
And then the question becomes a bigger meta question or a bigger question that can you believe these companies?
Mm.
And what do we believe they're up to?
Mm.
Like, what is their motivation by building these things? Do they want to contribute to the society, a better world, and
Mm.
happy human civilization, or
Yeah.
they want to earn more money
Mm.
and play with the game so that they can earn as much money as possible?
Exactly. Yeah.
And if somebody starts with a motivation to earn as much money as possible, should you really believe them without any scrutiny or analysis? That becomes a controversy in itself, but I don't know, this ChatGPT or other platforms will go there
Mm.
because now you're asking their own motivation. An existential question to ChatGPT, should it exist? or should it be shut down by some force, the government, and like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But even if you shut it down by the government, if there's a dark net or hidden world of internet and technologies, it can go and grow there.
Yeah, exactly. Mm, mm.
That would be interesting there would be two divisions. Like if there was a group of people who used fire and a group who did not use fire. Eventually, I think the people who did not use fire will disappear in the conflicts because they will have less power.
Mm.
So in that way, if there is a division that some people are using AI and some are not using AI, will it give power to people that will help them to control the other group?
Yeah. Hmm.
It's getting really cynical.
Yeah. But do you believe that this is equally strong as fire?
So what I think is that, what my observation is that intelligence is a human thing now, and creativity. No other species has that. Like we cannot go and fight an elephant or a tiger or a lion or even a eagle. Like that, we've probably been really in a difficult situation.
Mm.
Um, and so intelligence is also the capacity to team up, have strategies and such things helped from the beginning. Like
Mm.
even before all these technologies, people could still have strategies and observe other animal behavior and how to dominate them.
Mm.
And now the first time in history since this intelligence became prominent is the AI is challenging that there will be something else that will be more intelligent
Yeah.
than individuals. Like even the most intelligent person in the world, is most knowledgeable person in the world, will be negligible comparing to. That's the promise that they will be negligible comparing to AI. Like they're saying that AI will have the PhD level capacity soon.
Mm.
But the thing is that one person has one PhD, two maybe rarely, maybe extreme rare case three or four, I don't know. But mostly people have at most like one.
Yeah.
That's a standard, even people who have that. But AI will maybe have access to PhD level knowledge in many, many fields
Mm.
and will be able to combine them if it actually works the way it is promising, that if it is actually developing, if it develops the way it is being promised,
Mm.
and that is not impossible, and then it will be really, really powerful. And then it is also in one way that is good for many people who don't have that kind of knowledge access, like cannot access knowledge in that easy way, and also don't want to spend that much time or energy working hard many years to wait for that capacity to develop.
Mm.
Then they will be able to ask questions much earlier in their life. When they're 10 years old, they can ask complex questions and AI can address that. So this person does not need to go through all this development. And so knowledge will become something different. It will grow faster and more people will contribute because it will become combining different things you learn. That is how knowledge works a lot of time. In most cases, I would think that you learn things and you combine them and trying to see what else you can learn.
Yeah.
And when you can get answers and a lot of things that needs a lot of reading and experiment design and those things. And now in schools, these children, they learn to design experiments. That is a toy experiment, but maybe with ChatGPT, they can ask real questions, like why nobody's solving climate crisis. Like when you talk about Greta Thunberg, she was really, really sad, scared, and angry. but she did not have the tools to ask these questions, or many others who maybe would like to go into that and see, okay, why nobody is doing it, and then and how to think about it, and how to influence politicians, how to find a way that they will actually address climate questions, but will still do that because they think it is a good thing for them, for their profit interests as well. And these questions are not solved today. So, and people who are interested, they don't have the resources to investigate these things in this way. And even climate scientists, a lot of them are doing very good, but many of them are also doing their career research jobs. So, and I don't think all of them believe that they can solve climate issues, because this is very complex. Also, sustainability is a very complex, hard question, like how to make the world sustainable. This is connected to climate question, of course, but even if we put aside the climate issues directly, but the sustainability issues, and also living in harmony with nature, because that's good for everybody. And that's a higher quality of life. But how to attain those things? These things are really, really complex, and they need knowledge from many different domains, and not only knowledge in a superficial level, and deep knowledge from many different domains. And who will do that? It's impossible for the way we are doing it today. The collaborations, they don't work very well in academia or industries. People mostly collaborate in their similar domains. They don't have access to, or they don't have any structure to collaborate in cross-discipline that are needed or encouraged. So in many ways, ChatGPT has a possibility, or AI, other AI tools as well. There are many other tools. They have the possibility to go there and actually find deep knowledge from really deep questions in many domains, combining them.
Yes, that may be true, yeah. But how will it really transform into action? What can I mean? We don't believe that there will be robots doing these things, even if this kind of intelligence come
No.
up with solutions.
Like
Still,
if we go back to our ice cream example, when
mm,
somebody's asking how to make ice cream,
mm,
like certain kind of ice cream, and then ChatGPT will have a dialogue about the available ingredients in that space in the supermarket or such,
mm.
and then they will guide them how to make it. But ChatGPT or robots will not make it today.
No, 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 no,
The
exactly.
action will be done by the person.
Yeah, if they decide that they believe that this will be beneficial and all this, yeah.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Mm,
And also, we believe that there is a reason to believe that many people actually want to do good for the world, but they don't have power, or they don't feel they have the power or knowledge to do that.
no.
They don't know how. They don't believe this any action they can take will work. So then they become more kind of pessimistic and passive in these sort of actions.
Hmm.
So because it's not that they don't want to, but nobody knows how to solve these things. These are really difficult questions.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Because some of these questions, things can actually go against your personal desire. Like you want to buy more fashion, for example, but it's not, then people are saying it's not climate friendly.
Mm,
But then it may need that you actually work with yourself to understand first, like why you want to buy this fashion. And so that goes much deeper. That goes to psychoanalysis and social psychology, and all these things are interconnected. It's
mm,
not just saying, okay, buy less clothes. Like, why do people buy clothes? Why do people produce clothes? And these are facts that people produce these things, people buy these things, people enjoy these things, and happiness, they're receiving happiness. Is that worthless? Like, even if for momentary happiness, kind of one say, okay, that's worthless. let's take it away from them. That would be really harsh.
Exactly. So yeah, you mean if we might be able to solve big problems in the world, but if it's on the what to call it, on the cost of happiness, for example, is it worth it?
So that is what the
So
paradigm today, like,
we might create other big problems then. Yeah.
so if we go to this spiral dynamics model,
Mm.
the thing is that most people are not in tier 2 in that. Like, I believe our audience can Google spiral dynamics and know about what is tier 1 and tier 2. But let's if we focus on that, like if you see that this orange level, who are really capitalistic and rational group of people, mostly focusing on profit and structuring,
Yeah.
and then this comes after that. There is this green level where people want to regulate more, to control this and control growth.
Mm.
And then in tier 2 we realize that we are all integral, so we have all this inside us all the time,
Yeah.
or at least when you develop up to that point. So then we have all these aspects, and then it's time to integrate that. So regulation may not always give the best answer, but then what will give the best answer? That is also becoming, that is not known today, because as the researchers from spiral dynamics model, they discussed that there are not many people who are in tier 2,
No.
yellow and turquoise and beyond. So mostly, but they're also saying that when there will be 10% population of the society will move to tier 2, it will have a major impact in the society. The society will move to tier 2.
Mm.
That is their estimation. And that is what they have been observing through human history, that how societies move from one paradigm to another. Like when societies like stop being hunter-gatherer societies and becoming agriculture-based society, and then when from agriculture they become industrial.
Mm.
It's not that everybody in a society will become industrial worker,
No, no.
or is there still people in today who are agriculture based, and still there in the world there's still people who are hunter gatherers.
Yeah.
So it's not that everybody needs to move, but to move the paradigm, they say that 10% people need to move
Mm.
in society. And then because we're addressing this complex crisis that is unsolvable in our current thinking, and it needs us to go in tier 2, and then actually there are say estimation is that this is growing, more and more people are going to tier 2, and you see that in parallel AI is coming,
Mm.
because without tier 2 thinking, that deep consciousness and understanding the interconnectedness of all that is there,
Mm.
it can be a really, really dangerous tool.
Yes.
The AI that if this powerful AI that we're thinking that can be possible, if that is there, and if we are not growing as human consciousness,
Mm.
then it can become a chaos. So it is important to actually have that consciousness and the wisdom that tier 2 can bring.
Mm.
And that's also coming through system thinking and system analysis, understanding how systems work. That is in yellow level. And that is what AI really can do very well, I would think, that because this can objectively go and think about a system in a very objective way and in a very complex way. That is not possible in a human way today.
Mm.
So this is going to a very interesting time. And who will take the action? Eventually, it's a human beings who will take the actions. Um, and there will be robots, they will employ robots, because robotics is not there yet in that way. It cannot do it is not that advanced yet to follow all the human tasks. And
Mm.
that is very fascinating in itself, because people are worried that these robots and AI and technologies will mostly take the blue collar jobs, the so-called blue collar jobs. And it turns out that's not true. It's actually the so-called white collar jobs are more in risk.
Okay, can you explain this?
Because if you don't have a robot to go and ask it to go and build the house, but you can have AI to write a poem or
Mm,
make create a picture or maybe even making cinema or solving law problems or asking psychology help and doctors support our doctor support system,
mm,
all these things. But AI or technologies, they cannot build a bridge. You
mm,
still need people to go and do those tasks there.
yeah. Okay. Hmm.
And actually, it seems it's very like this fascinating that people did not really complain until very recently. Now people are saying that I mean, that people who are actually creatives, and they are now complaining more. Before they did not complain as much because they wanted this. They're saying that AI should not write poem for me. It should cook for me, and I should write the poem. So
Yeah.
it's kind of, but not everybody has that luxury. There are people who work hard work in like I when I go out, like you see people working in this area. There's a construction going on, so there are people who really working in cold and in heat and everything,
Mm,
staying out and working hard.
yeah.
These bridges they don't make themselves. So this is a little bit like when somebody else says, I want to sit down and write poems and AI should cook for me, but who would build bridges for them and roads for them and make sure that this food is coming to the supermarket, long drives and such. Some people are doing those things,
Mm,
and they're kind of invisible in this intellectual debate and dialogues because they're not participating, because a lot of time they don't have the time or energy to do this.
no.
So people who are doing this now suddenly they realize that, oh, our jobs are at risk and AI is taking these writing jobs and
Mm,
editing jobs and such, and that's kind of funny as well.
mm,
But I think creative people will always find things to do. They will find creative ways to do more. They will not do what they've been doing. We don't paint the way people have been doing before. We
no.
do something else because if one could do that, well, you could sit and train thousands of people to paint like master painters from the Middle Age. But that is not what we do because that would not be creative enough. That is basically copying or following what people have been doing before. So creativity needs to adjust. So when AI is there, human consciousness will find ways to use that to do something that we don't know about today because we don't live in that time today.
Mm,
And it would be naive to think that 500 years in future art will be the same as today, with or without AI. That would be
no, no.
a progress. That is kind of backward thinking and believing that these things we are living today is permanent, but
No,
it's not permanent.
no. No, no, of course. I mean, why should development stop here if you see what's happened in the history? Um, so yeah, but it's interesting that I can realize from what you're saying that the people who some of them who knows most about this are also most concerned about it, about the development. That's interesting in itself. The the people who have worked with the creation of this and now say we need to stop and reflect, not just go on without hesitation.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
mean that should be alarming in a way, uh, shouldn't it?
What should be alarming?
That these people who should know most about it are most concerned. Some of them.
Please, could you explain a bit more?
Yeah, you said people who have worked a lot with developing this AI and the different versions of it. Some of them are really concerned now. What will?
I cannot say that. I cannot tell that if they are concerned,
No,
but
no.
they're
It
saying that
seems
they are concerned.
they say, yeah, that's
But I don't believe everything they say
no.
because at the end they're some of the richest people in the world.
Mm,
And they earn money, that is their main goal, and they work with competition and all sort of things, and a lot of time they find themselves behind the questions laws, and so sometimes they need to step down because they did
yeah.
something not very good. So
Mm,
and they also want to have monopoly, like they don't want competition.
mm,
Some of them thrive without competition. So I don't know if I can believe these people what they say. But
mm,
yes, they are saying these things.
yeah. Huh. Oh yeah. But there are other people who today say that we shall totally stop this. Are that's kind of people? Have you heard?
I think it's not impossible that some people believe that,
Mm,
but it has a strong momentum.
mm.
So it's very difficult to say to stop it.
No, I
So
don't.
they don't generally say that, but
No. Mm,
they talk about it, and there are people actually who want more regulation than stopping it altogether,
mm.
because the same people who are using it is also criticizing it. But if everybody else is using it and benefiting from it, and if you're the only one not using it, that can be a problem because you'll be behind in competition compared to other people. It's like everybody in your society is using fire and making things, and you're the only group who don't use it,
Mm.
and you will fall behind the other groups. So then you'll be forced to do that. So it's very interesting, and it goes to social psychology. It's not always known, but I haven't seen strong movement when people are saying that one should shut it down.
No. Mm,
But I would not be surprised if somebody believed in that, because I met people who think internet shouldn't be there.
mm.
and and they could be right. I don't know. Like they have their own thoughts and arguments, but there are so many people who, and even those people, they use internet.
Yeah.
So
To spread their message. And,
yeah, maybe also I don't know that, but yes, they did use internet. They use emails
uh,
and
mm,
that's thing. So it's totally, and they watch videos online and all sort of interesting things.
yeah. So I was thinking this not very long ago. Uh, you know, when I'm out hiking, I'm searching for silence.
Mm,
But then I realized if there would be a situation where it was totally silent in a place where it normally is not, wouldn't I
mm,
be very scared then? Wouldn't that be alarming if every noise that I'm used to would disappear?
mm,
Because the noise is telling me the world is going on, everything is quite normal. If something happens to me, there is all this safety net in the society. I can just make a phone call and they will come and help me
mm.
if I get hurt or ill or something, for example. So I mean, this searching for the silence and stillness is not that I'm searching going back to Stone Age and before the kind of civilization we have today. It's just a very short pause from the noise going on, and I'm not sure I really want it to be a very long pause. It's just it's just room for maybe a bit slower thoughts and like that. But
Yes.
so
So I was watching a TEDx talk recently,
mm,
and he was talking about how the lies about sound in movies, like how the sound is not actually what we hear, is constructed from something else. Like
yes,
bird flapping is not constructed from recording birds flapping, is using sheets and other things too. So, and then he was also talking about how this silence, that silence is important, but how silence is constructed in a movie sequence, that they don't, mm, it's not empty of sound. The silence is the ambient sound. And then
yeah,
he played two sound. One was a market in Morocco. Another was this in this busy street in New York.
ah,
So, and these are very noisy, but for him, it is silence
yeah,
because it gives a pause. You need the ambient sound, otherwise it will not work.
mm,
So when you go to the forest, the ambient sound changes clearly. You still have birds and the wind and the trees and such.
yeah. Exactly, yes.
Absolute silence. That is interesting. Can we create that even?
No,
Have
no.
have people done that? I don't know.
I mean,
Maybe it's
if I
possible that
want,
people have tried it and they have done it, but what does it mean?
mm-hmm.
How will that feel? And how will that actually feel? Like if you almost like you're going deep, that you cannot hear anything. If you go to the forest and suddenly there is a silence, so that is.
Yeah,
So I believe people who went deep from then who couldn't hear anymore, then they maybe have experienced it.
yeah.
It's also going blind.
I mean, that's scary in a way, I think. I don't want to to explore that. I don't want to experience that. Um, I think when I try to create a feeling of silence or very close to silence in music, it's about what's around it. So I need to have maybe very soft sounds, but still sounds, and then there could be a rest for some
Mm,
seconds, and then there is another sound, and the sounds could, as I say, yeah, very soft, but still there are the sounds are needed to make the impact of silence in between, because otherwise it's just nothing. It's not uh,
mm,
a feeling of silence. It's just no music going on, no nothing, and then you will just hear all the other sounds which normally are around you, or at least coming from your inner, from your body. So, uh, so of course it's about a feeling more than the total physical emptiness of from sound. Uh,
yes. In the horror novel, like this Day of the Triffids, there the writer briefly explored
uh-huh.
this the airiness of everything going silent.
Okay, yeah.
If you want to read it, I don't want to like I don't want to give spoilers,
No, no.
but this maybe is enough to get started. So
Yeah.
there they explored that. There's a writer explored that.
But to connect this with the AI thing, think like we are always getting used to what's around us.
Mm.
to the society we live in, the context we live in. So now if AI suddenly just disappeared, every kind of AI tool, then it would be very scary, I believe, because there were so many things we are used to just going away. I mean, the scary thing, that feeling can of course evoke a lot of thoughts, make us reflect on things, and that could be very helpful. But still, still, I'm not sure we really want to
So
we
AI has
couldn't
like
choose that ourselves. Yeah.
one aspect of AI is, of course, we are talking about, mostly people are talking about today's generative AI. But there are other kinds of AI that, for example, this weather prediction is a kind of intelligence that you need to create artificially because it's not there. You cannot see the weather tomorrow.
No.
But maybe you want to know the weather if you want to go hiking and such.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So do you, like, where does one draw the line? That is interesting question. And also, of course, if you're a photographer before digital age, you wouldn't want this saturation of photography the way today. Like everybody's taking photos and jobs are kind of becoming rare and rare, I believe. So that is challenging photographers to become more creative because so many people are doing it.
Yeah.
So in that way, AI can force people to become more creative because now the creativity we knew until this point becomes so easily doable. Like I wrote a new poem, like it doesn't mean as much as it did 500 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something also to come back to sometime.
Yes.
Yeah. So
On the
now,
other hand, you can also train AI, like going back to your question, does AI know you? If you train it more and more based on your preference, basically when you go to Netflix, for example, and other platforms or Spotify, they kind of suggest things that you may like, and they have very good algorithms for these things.
yeah.
And then if you train AI particularly for you that knows a lot about you, and then you ask it to write a perfect novel for you that you like and that is personalized for you, or a poem that is only written for you and nobody else may even understand what it means, but it can touch nerves that is much, much deeper than a general poem that is written for thousands of people. So you can actually have very specialized content that is created only for you. And it is humanly almost impossible. And even AI have difficulties, but over time, if it knows you from your childhood,
I
all
know
the
the
stories
feeling that this is very contradictory to this general idea, because here it can become extremely individual. So we can live in
yes,
our separate worlds with. So in my world, there is this kind of music and created just for me, and in your world, there is totally other music. So,
yes.
and we are there is this risk that we become very isolated and hard to speak with each other because we have so different experiences.
It could be, but it could also be that you find other people who like similar things, who have very similar stories. But on the other hand, if it shows that we actually that is disconnecting, that means we are already disconnected today.
Yeah.
Because we are not relating in a deep level, because somehow we don't understand each other and we don't know ourselves in that deep level. So if AI actually can do that, if it will remember, if you let it remember from your birth to all your life that, oh, it every time it knows being there somehow, because it can record things and it can gather information. So then it can actually, and it can also learn overall by learning from others over time that what people value. It can find memories and meanings in something that was so, maybe that made you feel in a certain way that was so negligible in the world, but it meant something deep for you. Like when you go to walk, for example, there's something you saw certain wave going through certain rock at some point, and that was actually very deep, and you talked about that with AI at some point in your life. It can recall that, but if you say that to somebody else, they need to go there and have that exact experience to actually relate to that experience in some way. Otherwise it will not be, but still we are human, we can expand ourselves.
Yes.
Our understanding about other people's experiences and empathy, using empathy and compassion and such tools that we already have. So that is what we will need to do as human beings, because this is something AI cannot have. At least now, as we know it, there is no way I see that it can have a compassion or empathy in a way we understand it.
No, exactly.
So we need to practice those things more.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that
Yeah,
life becomes.
exactly. And I'm thinking of the metaphor of the fire. I mean, fire is extremely useful for some purposes, but you cannot use it for everything. You cannot use it all the time.
No.
Let us think the same about AI. We shall use it for some purposes very much, and for some other things not at all. I think is so important to be able to see
Yeah.
when and where to use it.
Yes. And
So
this is very interesting that we started this conversation. I think this is needed for us and for the world today, and to actually explore it, because we don't know,
no, exactly.
but somehow it will be good for people to know. There's a feeling about that this sort of exploration will be somehow good for us, or for the societies and the world and the planet.
Mm, I believe so. Thank you for today.
Thank you. Thank you.